Hello, hello, hello. It's Kyle Van Boers with Boers.com, and today we're going to be going through a template that you can use to figure out your target verticals and personas. Let's dive right in. Alrighty, so one of the most important pieces of having a successful sales organization is really understanding the target industry or verticals that you are going after, as well as the personas or people that you're targeting within those company types. Alrighty, let's use an example here. Let's say you sell software to the food and beverage industry. Well, that's your industry or vertical, so to speak. That's what we'll be calling it in this video. And you might have a couple of verticals, right? You might target food and beverage, and you might target consumer goods, for example, companies that produce products in both of those verticals. Well, those are your verticals. And in this template that you're going to be able to use, you're going to see we're going to define those verticals very, very clearly. Well, each one of the companies that are within those verticals, they also have the people you're targeting, right? This might be the CEO, this might be director of supply chain, this could be the chief revenue officer. Those are personas. And in this video, in the template you're going to be using today, I'm going to walk you through how to define the target verticals for your product or service, as well as the target personas. So let's jump right in. Also, if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps us out and we'll keep making it. Alrighty, now we are here. Welcome to the template. So if you go to the description box down below, you'll see a link to this template that you can go and copy it yourself. We also have the Google Sheet version of this. That's a little more practical, but I wanted something nice for you to look at while we're doing this video. So let me explain each one of these questions and why we ask it. You'll see here up at the top, we have the different verticals, vertical A, vertical B, and vertical C. You're going to replace those with the actual name of that vertical. So to stick with the example we used earlier, vertical A might say food and beverage, and vertical B may be replaced with consumer goods. Now, on the left-hand side, there are specific questions that you're going to be answering. And I want to make something super, super clear here. You want to answer this for the best fit for your product or service. So when you see employee count here, let's say the best fit is companies between 100 and 1,000 employees. That's okay. But it might not be the best fit for under 100 employees. So you want to make sure you actually have that range. Same goes for revenue. This isn't always one that's mandatory, how much revenue a company is making, but it might matter to you. If it doesn't matter, cross it out. It doesn't matter. Use this template that best fits you. So let's just go top to bottom here. Employee count, how many employees are at the organization? Revenue, how much revenue should they be doing to consider your product or service? And then it gets to the real important part. What's the unique challenge of this vertical that you are solving? And I can't stress that enough. You have to put a unique challenge that's vertical specific. If not, go back to the drawing board. There's got to be something that happens in that vertical that you guys are able to solve with your product or service. Now, it can be a similar challenge for every vertical, but how does it impact that vertical specifically? That's how I want you thinking here. Next is, why is your solution a good fit for this vertical specifically? Again, vertical specific, because your messaging needs to speak to the organizations that fall within this vertical. If you can't answer these questions, odds are you're going too broad, or you just don't have a strong enough vertical for your targeting. The next question here, why should a company in this vertical invest in your solution now? This is the timeliness element here. This is going to help you while you're selling as well as prospecting, because you can understand the urgency that typically is experienced by companies in this vertical. The next question here is, how does feature help solve a vertical specific challenge? And you're going to answer that for 3 different features. And I want to stress here, this is a feature, not the entire product or service. What's something specific about your solution that helps that vertical solve a vertical specific problem? So find 3 features or aspects of your solution that solve a vertical specific problem. And now you're going to repeat that process for at least 3 verticals. If this is your first time doing something like this and your company's really new, I recommend sticking to 3 or less, sometimes even 1, it depends. But do not go super crazy here. You're not Oracle. You don't need to have 20, 30 different verticals that you're going after. Start with 3 and then grow from there. Now the next section here Personas. This is the most fun, to be honest. I love working through personas. Now, each one of these personas, persona A, B, and C, is going to be replaced with the title of the person that you're reaching out to at those companies. So persona A might be CEO, persona B might be VP of sales, persona C might be Chief Marketing Officer. So let's start with your first one here, persona A. What's the unique challenge that persona experiences? Again, we want to be specific to that individual. Think, what's the challenge for the CEO, for example? The next question here is, how are they trying to solve it today? This is the most important question that nobody asks. How are they trying to solve the problem without you? A lot of times people say like, oh, they're using spreadsheets and it's this big horrible experience. And then you go and talk to the people, they're like, we don't mind using spreadsheets. It's pretty easy for us actually, right? So you got to understand how they're trying to solve it today. And then the kind of the A+ version of this is also putting in there why that's not sufficient. But it's not a mandatory part of this. It's just something that is a good addition. So the next piece here, how our solution can help. This is a really big piece of the puzzle, right? How can we help solve that unique challenge? And then the next question here is how our solution is different from the alternative. So either how they're doing it today or some of your competitors. You want to write that out. Then the next question is their goals. How do they look good to their boss? So pretty simple. What are the goals of this particular persona and how do they look good? So if you're talking about the CEO, maybe they're trying to look good to the board. How do they look good to the board, right? Maybe it's increasing revenue and you sell a product that helps them do that. You want to understand the goals of each persona because they're going to be a little bit different based on who you're targeting. The next piece here is how can we help them hit their goals or overcome their challenges? Now, again, specific to the person. We talked about one unique challenge up at the top. This question should really be more long form. Go ahead and brain dump. What are the unique challenges you're solving here? What are some ways that you can help them achieve their goals so they can look good to their boss? These are the types of things you should be putting here. The next question, what is the best way to explain the value of your solution to this buyer? Think about if you had a quick little minute-long pitch, how to explain your solution to the buyer. That's what you want to put here. And then finally, a real quote from the buyer explaining the challenge. You want to put it in their words so that way when you hear it from the people you're speaking to on the sales calls or on the cold calls, it sounds familiar, right? So oftentimes on cold calling, we like to say, hey, I speak to this type of persona all the time, and they tell me X, Y, and Z. Well, you can't say X, Y, and Z if you've never heard it before. So this is an opportunity for you to put all of the pieces together. So there's one document that has all of this information for each persona. So go back to the top. We got 3 personas, fill it out for each. And that's it, folks. It's a pretty simple exercise that has a tremendous amount of value to the people who do it. I can't stress enough the importance of having a very clear target market you're going after, the verticals that you're targeting, that you're going to provide unique value to, and then the personas within the organizations that fall under those verticals and how much impact you provide to those people. It's very important for you to have clarity around this, but I would argue it's even more important that the rest of your organization does as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you need any help, put the comments down below. I'm more than happy to help or even take a look at yours if you want to send it my way. Thanks so much, and we'll talk soon.